Hey, welcome back to Rob's Garage Woodworking. Today I'm going to talk about how I store my 18 volt power tools, as well as some of the other tools. I have some other tools that sit flat. So these tools, they have a flat base, so you can sit them flat and they'll stay. Like, you don't have to hang them or do anything weird. You just set them down. I set that down and that'll sit there. It won't fall over, nothing will happen to it. I can mount a battery to it. It'll sit on its battery and it won't go anywhere. So you can put your tools in really simple. Now, this one in particular, this little cabinet I made, is just like a bookcase. It's just a bookshelf, basically. It has a couple of shelves, a face frame. It's got some sides, and it's got just an OSB backer board, just a 1/4 inch OSB backer board that I had kicking around. And that helps to keep the shelf straight, okay? So it doesn't bow with the weight of your tools and things. And also the face frame adds strength as well. So can you make this a little more tool dense? Sure you can. You can take your tools, you can turn them this way, and you can get them closer together. You could take your other tools and turn them that way, and you can get them closer together for sure. But I like the way these look like this. I have enough room to do it this way. So the face frame itself is 1.5 inches, and it's 3/4 inches of shelf, and then a 1/2 inch of MDF behind the shelf. And the MDF, you can use whatever you want. I just like the MDF because it was cheap and I had it, so I used it. And I cut out a space for the tools so that they fit in the MDF. So yeah, you take out the tool and there's a cutout. And this whole board comes out. I've got it screwed in, but I can unscrew it and pop the whole board out. And this, what that does is it guides where you put your tools. So your tools are always sitting in the right place. So I have it for my sanders, they all sit in a hole, and I have it for everything on this except for the batteries. And the batteries, I just have them sitting on top because I'm always charging them and stuff, and I just put them all together. So here's a closer view of the tools, right? So I've got my 3 sanders, and then I've got the orbital and the mouse sander, little saw, and one of my routers, work light, fans, power planer, a couple of jigsaws, electric and battery powered, then some flashlights and area light, and then the old Ryobi emergency radio, I call it. So I really like this method. It's one of my many methods of tool storage, and I have a bunch. There's no method that I really exclude. So I am working on a French cleat system for some other things that I find would work better with French cleats. I use pegboard, so I use automotive tool cabinets, and I use regular overhead cabinets. I use shelves. There's nothing that I don't use. So I'm not one of those guys that has like a whole workshop and every wall is French cleats, or every wall is pegboard, or every wall is just tool cabinets. Like, I think that's ridiculous. I think you should use the best method for your space and for your skill level and for your budget. So this is cheap and easy, and it looks great. Looks super organized. When I lived in a subdivision, people would walk down the sidewalk and they'd look into my shop and they would stop and they'd say, "Oh my God." And they'd look in because it's all neat and organized and full of tools, right? So I like to make it organized because it's easier to work in, right? And it looks good. You know, whenever anybody comes over, they're really impressed. And that's not what I do it for, but it feels good, right? So anyway, this is a super simple method that you can do. You just trace out around your tools, you cut it out, you put your tool in, okay, you space it out, line them all up. So you take all your tools, you have all your tools, what you're going to do, how you're going to space them, and then you will trace them out on the MDF and cut them. You can put them this way, you can put them on a 45, you can do whatever you want. Like, it's super, super simple. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Just do what you like, okay? And there's a lot of different methods to doing tool storage. And like I say, I use all of them, okay? I am not exclusive. Like, you see I have a lot of Ryobi tools here. Yeah, my 18-volt battery tools are all Ryobi because it's the same platform. It makes sense. Do I use all Ryobi tools? Oh, hell no. No, I've got Mastercraft tools, I've got Craftsman, I've got Bosch, I've got Delta, I've got Trademaster, I've got Rigid, no-name stuff from Princess Auto. I've got all that stuff. I try to get the best tool that I can, the best tool I can afford, and sometimes I have to get the best value tool because I can't afford, the higher end stuff. So you have to look at what can I afford, what can I get used, and how do I store it? And there's no one way to do things. There's a million ways to do things. I'm just showing you my preferred method, what I find works for me. That's my strategy for organizing my 18-volt power tools. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in this kind of content, I do all DIY type stuff and shop organization and some auto mechanics and home improvement and all that, because I'm a cheap bastard, I guess. So if you're interested in that kind of content, please subscribe. There's lots on my channel, lots of different organization, and I'll put a link to a video on how I did this originally, my first one, and yeah, so that'll be in the description box, okay? Anyway, thanks for watching. Cheers.